Discover how a 7-year-old, despite his broken arm, carried his sister. You won't believe the incredible choice he made. On a sunny afternoon in the small Midwestern town of Maplewood, children's laughter echoed through the air. Charlie, a spirited 7-year-old with a blazing zest for life, was on the brink of baseball glory, practicing with his friends on the grassy field surrounded by cow pastures and radiant homes. He swung the bat with a fierce determination, imagining himself as the town hero. But during one particularly daring play, Charlie stumbled, tumbling to the ground. The crack of bone tore through the joy of the moment, and pain shot through his body as he realized he'd broken his arm. Tears pooled in his eyes, but they weren't for himself. The very thought of being sidelined from baseball filled him with frustration. He felt like a bird trapped in a cage. As he sat cradling his arm, a sudden rumble interrupted his thoughts. Dark clouds gathered menacingly above, swirling ominously like an angry beast. A storm was brewing, and with it came a sense of unease. Meanwhile, at home, his younger sister, Lily, with her big brown eyes and trustful smile, peered out the window, excitement overcoming her usual caution. As the rain began to fall, each drop like a drumbeat against the roof, Charlie's heart raced not just from pain. He could feel something was wrong. He heard faint cries from the next house over. It was Mrs. Jenkins, their elderly neighbor, who lived alone. Anguish strummed at Charlie's heart as he realized she was trapped upstairs, calling for help amidst the raucous storm. "Charlie, I'm scared," Lily squeaked, her small hands gripping his shirt tightly. He looked at his sister. There was no time to dwell on his broken arm. "We have to help her," he declared, his voice ringing with determination. Crude and makeshift, his arm was bound in a sling, but his spirit soared, refusing to be held back. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With determination igniting his every step, Charlie bravely hobbled through the rain-soaked yards, Lily clinging to him like a lifeline. The rising waters splashed against their ankles, fear creeping around the edges of their hearts. But for Charlie, the paralysis of fear was no match for the warmth of love and duty. With each step, he hoped his neighbors would see his resolve and find their courage too. As they finally reached Mrs. Jenkins' house, an unexpected sight stopped Charlie in his tracks. The townsfolk, people he'd grown up with, stood back hesitating, caught in their own personal storms. Disappointment washed over him, but he recalled the words of a neighborhood veteran he admired so much. Just then, he spotted the old soldier stepping forward, rallying the townsfolk behind him. "We can save her. Come on, folks." And in that moment, with Charlie's bravery lighting the way, the town hesitated no longer. Their storm was just beginning, but what would rise from the waters? Would the community stand united, breaking down walls of indifference? Charlie, with Lily beside him, represented a turning point, the herald of hope amid chaos. As they braced for the storm's wrath, a question loomed larger than life: would they come together or allow their differences to wash them apart? The struggle was just beginning, and Charlie's brave heart had ignited a movement that could change everything. The air crackled with tension as the townsfolk hesitated, eyes darting to one another. Fear painted their faces, but Charlie was undeterred. He could hear Mrs. Jenkins' faint cries growing more desperate amid the rain's ferocity. "We have to go. Now!" he yelled, his voice breaking through the clouds of uncertainty above them. Lily squeezed his arm, her innocent face painted with concern. "What if it's too dangerous?" she whispered, her big brown eyes glistening with fear. But Charlie, resolute, shook his head. "If we don't do something, who will?" In his heart, he knew they couldn't let fear win, not when someone needed them. The old soldier, Mr. Thompson, echoed Charlie's sentiment. Together, folks. He shouted again, voice booming with authority. Some townsfolk took slow steps forward, driven by Charlie's energy. They rallied around him, inching closer to Mrs. Jenkins' house, the bond of community beginning to break through the storm. As they approached, the wind howled, a wild orchestra joined by the heavy rain beating down like 1,000 drummers. Charlie's heart pounded loud in his chest, but he fed off the energy surrounding him. The courage of his friends and neighbors surged through him like the rain, uncontrollable but full of power. He turned to Lily, lifting her up onto his hip, the weight surprisingly a comfort rather than a burden. "Hold on tight." He grinned, even as ache wrapped around his arm. "We're not stopping." She nodded, trusting her brother fully, her fear momentarily displaced by his determination. Arriving at the Jenkins porch, the group braced themselves against the battering storm. Waves of water surged around their legs, but the fear fled as they worked together, some prepared to kick the door down, while others made a human barrier against the wind. "On 3. Mr. Thompson directed, eyes fierce. Charlie released his breath, counting in his mind as he watched everyone's tense faces. 3. The door crashed open, sending sparks of adrenaline through the crew. Inside, the ambience of dread intermingled with the howling storm, but the clarity of need remained. They were here for Mrs. Jenkins. "Mrs. Jenkins!" Charlie shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos. It was a call of hope, a promise even in the worst of storm, kindness could shine bright. "We're coming." And there, at the top of the stairs, they caught sight of her, a frail shadow against the light, her pale face etched with fright. She had been trying to reach the window, a frail figure battling shadows and fears, just like them all. As Mr. Thompson scrambled up the steps, Charlie's heart raced. He could sense a turning point, a moment where every drop of rain felt like a small battle fought. They were not just a group of scared neighbors anymore, they were a force of unity and community spirit. Through the howling storm, Mrs. Jenkins' gaze found Charlie's young, steadfast face. "Help me, please." She reached out, and in that moment, a fierce pride surged within him. He held her gaze, linking their shared vulnerability, a bridge over the raging waters of fear. But just as they began to form a plan to get her down, the house shuddered. A loud crack, like thunder, resonated through the walls. Charlie's heart plummeted. Was the storm about to take away the very hope they were trying to rescue? "Come on," Mr. Thompson urged, galvanizing everyone with a fierce shout. "We have to act fast." Light flickered dangerously above them, and Charlie gripped Lily tighter. The storm raged, but so did their resolve. Would they manage to pull Mrs. Jenkins to safety before the storm threatened to bring everything crashing down? As he took a deep breath, ready to fight for courage, Charlie's heart raced with uncertainty and fire. This was only the beginning. What would emerge from the chaos? Charlie felt the ground tremble beneath his feet, and every instinct whispered to turn back. But the sight of Mrs. Jenkins, frail and afraid at the top of the staircase, anchored him. Heart pounding in his chest, he glanced at the townsfolk gathered around him, their eyes brimming with determination. They were here together, fighting against this storm, against fear itself. "All right, folks," Mr. Thompson shouted, his voice a steady anchor amidst the chaos. "We're going to form a line. Charlie, you and Lily stay close. We need to make sure Mrs. Jenkins can move safely." Charlie's mind raced as he mentally mapped out the safest route for Mrs. Jenkins down the staircase. He couldn't let her feel alone. Not again. The storm was blowing fiercely outside, but inside, they could tackle the noise and fear together. "Lily, can you help me?" Charlie asked, setting her down gently. He wanted her to feel useful, despite her own fears. She nodded, determination shining in her eyes. "What do I do?" "Just keep an eye on Mrs. Jenkins and pass her your courage," Charlie said, taking a deep breath. We're all in this together, remember? With a nod, his sister stepped closer to Mrs. Jenkins, her tiny hands reaching out. The older woman's eyes sparkled slightly, as Lily shared her untainted bravery, a pure light amidst the shadows. "Can you walk?" Mr. Thompson called up, squeezing through the throng of people waiting below. "We'll help you, but you've got to try." "Why yes, I think I can," Mrs. Jenkins replied, her voice trembling like the wind outside. She stepped down one shaky step. Charlie could see the trembling in her legs, the tears pooling at the corners of her eyes. "Just keep focusing on Lily," he said, moving beside her, wrapping an arm around her waist. "We've got you." With Charlie holding one arm and Mr. Thompson helping from the other side, Mrs. Jenkins began her descent. Each step echoed the thunder outside as they moved together, a small flock navigating through a storm that felt infinite. Then it happened. A loud cracking noise pierced through the house, and everyone froze. The ceiling overhead that had once been sturdy and safe creaked ominously. Charlie's heart dropped. "Get down!" shouted a voice from the back. Panic erupted among the group. Most jumped back, scattering, while Charlie tightened his grip on Mrs. Jenkins. "Stay put!" he yelled, trying to fight down the rising tide of fear that threatened to overwhelm him. "We're not leaving her." With two quick movements, he positioned himself in front of Lily, shielding her as they crouched close to the floor, waiting to see what would happen next. Every muscle in his body screamed with tension. The air was thick with chaos. He felt his resolve wavering as fear drummed a harsh rhythm in his ears. Would they make it out? He knew they would. They had to. "Are you okay?" Lily asked, panic rising in her voice. "I'm okay," Charlie whispered, though doubt crept into his heart. "We're all going to be okay." Suddenly, the storm raged louder, and through the building din, Mrs. Jenkins called, "Charlie, help me." Her words were barely audible above the clamor, and in that moment, he saw her fear transform into something even deeper. "Just hold on tight," Charlie urged, igniting a spark of courage within his chest. They would find a way through. As the house shuddered once more, Charlie's eyes locked onto Lily's brave expression and the glimmer of her belief, anchoring him against the storm's fury. But just as they regrouped, loud banging echoed below. Was it the door? Who was coming? Would they save the day, or only bring more chaos? Charlie could feel the tendrils of dread pulling at him. The storm had a grip on them, but so did their spirit. And yet, just when it felt most exhilarating, the danger loomed closer. Would they stand together against the storm, or would the world around them shift irrevocably once more? Charlie's heart raced as the banging continued, louder and more insistent. His instincts kicked in. "We need to make a decision," he murmured, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his young shoulders. "Charlie," Lily whispered, her voice quaking. "What if it's someone bad?" He took a deep breath, scanning the group. Fear clung to every face, but determination shone through. Mr. Thompson's eyes met his, silent communication passed between them. "Everyone, stay low," Mr. Thompson commanded, pushing through the shivers that threatened to overwhelm him. Another crash reverberated through the house, making them flinch. Charlie could tell the door might not hold for much longer. Gripping Mrs. Jenkins tightly, he whispered, "Just a little longer. We've almost got you down." As they maneuvered down the staircase, Charlie felt strength coursing through him. It was as if the weight of the world hung on every step they took, but he wouldn't falter now. The image of Mrs. Jenkins' fear and Lily's trust fueled him. "Get ready," Mr. Thompson urged as they reached the bottom of the staircase. "We're going to push through." "Where?" Charlie asked, shifting slightly to give Mrs. Jenkins more support. His heart thundered, adrenaline pushing him forward. "Out the back. The storm is relentless, but we have to try." Movement erupted around them. The townsfolk shifted, creating a barrier, a wall of hope defying the chaos. Charlie couldn't see well through the clutter, but the resolve around him echoed like thunder in the storm outside. "Let us go," Mr. Thompson shouted, ushering them forward. As Charlie prepared to follow, a loud crash silenced the atmosphere, leaving only the haunting sound of the wind howling through the broken windows. The door on the other side trembled under a powerful blow. "They had to move. They can't break our spirit," Charlie thought fiercely. He could already feel Mrs. Jenkins clenching his arm, her trembling frame relying on his strength. "We are together. We can do this." Just then, the banging stopped. An eerie silence filled the room. In that moment, Charlie's breath hitched. "What do we do now?" Then came a gentle voice, cutting through the heavy air. "Charlie? Is that you?" His heart did an odd jump. "Mom?" he called back. Relief washed over him like summer rain as her face appeared, illuminated by the flickering candlelight outside. Behind her were familiar figures, friends, neighbors, the backbone of their community. "Come on. We're here to help. It's not safe for you," she pleaded, her eyes wide with worry. "Mom. Mrs. Jenkins needs," he began, but before he could finish, an overwhelming wave of emotion surged through him. He looked at his sister, then back at the townsfolk, their faces etched with determination. "Let us go," his mother urged again. "Follow us. Hold tight, Mrs. Jenkins," Charlie exclaimed as they began to navigate toward their mother, carefully making their way through the chaos. Suddenly, as they moved forward, the back wall shuddered violently. Cracks formed, letting shards of light cast shapes across their path. Fear gripped Charlie's chest tighter than ever. "We have to hurry." Just as they reached the door, a loud crash erupted beside them. A piece of the wall collapsed, sending debris flying in all directions. Charlie yanked Lily close, shielding her with his body. "Stay down," he shouted, adrenaline rushing through him. His heart hammered fiercely against his rib cage. Would they make it out alive? With a combining focus, they pushed forward through the fray. "We are not alone," he reminded himself, looking at Mrs. Jenkins. Her face held a mixture of terror and trust, igniting a fire in Charlie's spirit. Only a few steps remained. They could see the door now, the way out. The storm beckoned them, but so did hope. As he rounded the corner, he caught his mother's gaze. It was fierce, protective, filled with love. "You can do this," she yelled over the din. And just there, at the precipice, Charlie froze. An unexpected obstacle loomed just beyond the door. What lay ahead could change everything. Would they face a new kind of danger on the other side? Charlie blinked, disbelief flooding his thoughts. Just beyond the door stood a massive fallen tree, its roots jagged and exposed, the trunk blocking their escape. The storm raged on outside, rain pounding like a drum against the earth. The wind howled fierce and angry, a sound that sent shivers down his spine. "What now?" he gulped. Panic edged his voice. All his courage felt like a thin thread stretching in an unforgiving storm. The group behind him fell silent, caught in a shared moment of dread. "Charlie!" his mother shouted, her voice a lifeline. "We can climb over. It's our only chance. Can we even get through that?" Lily's eyes widened, a mixture of fear and determination swirling in them. "Yes, we can. We have to," Charlie said, the words stronger than he felt. He turned to face the mass of wood and earth, clenching his fists. The ground beneath them trembled slightly, another reminder that time was running out. "Help me with Mrs. Jenkins," he pleaded, his resolve surging. They had gotten this far together. They could do it again. As they adjusted their grip, it was only a matter of moments before Mr. Thompson jumped into action. "I'll lift her. You guys just get her up and over." Charlie couldn't contain the excitement mingled with fear. With a swift jolt, Mr. Thompson kneeled beside Mrs. Jenkins, offering his sturdy arms. Together, they maneuvered her into position, and all it took was a few quick breaths for Charlie to feel ready. "On three!" Charlie shouted, his heart pounding like the storm outside. 1, 2, 3. With all their strength, they pushed. The combined effort was a symphony of determination and hope. Slowly, Mrs. Jenkins was lifted over the tree's massive trunk. There was a moment when Charlie thought it might not be enough, but then, with a final heave, Mr. Thompson set her down on the wet ground on the other side, safe. "Next!" his mother urged. "Lily, you go." Charlie watched as Lily scrambled forward, her lithe form launching herself over the obstacle like an acrobat. "Then it's me," he said, glancing briefly at the chaos behind. The danger surged closer with every heartbeat. With shaky breaths, Charlie set his feet. He felt the rain beat down like impatient fingers, urging him forward. "Come on, Charlie. You can do this," he whispered to himself, feeling a flicker of courage ignite within. The moment he reached the tree, he could feel the weight of the world on his shoulders. He used his good arm to hoist himself onto the trunk, slipping as the rain made the bark slick beneath his hands. "Focus!" he grunted, gritting his teeth as he forced himself over. "Almost there!" his mother called, her voice a guiding light through the storm's chaos. He swung his legs and kicked off the trunk, landing in a mudslide. Charlie felt the ground push back, slick and unyielding. He laughed in surprise, a sound filled with disbelief. He was okay. "Charlie!" Lily's voice rang out, pulling him from his reverie. "Come on. We're waiting." He scrambled to his feet and joined them, heart racing. The rain poured heavily now, but they were outside, free from the prison of their home. But just as relief began to wash over him, a roar split through the storm. A sudden crack of thunder sent jolts of shock through the air. Something dark loomed at the edge of their street, and as Charlie squinted through the sheets of rain, dread settled in his stomach. He caught sight of shadows moving, figures slipping through the downpour. "What is that?" he wondered aloud, recognizing that their fight was far from over. "Charlie, we have to run," his mother shouted, urgency gripping her words. With adrenaline surging, Charlie turned to his family, determination towering over fear. Together. As they sprinted down the street, the sound of their pounding feet was lost in the chaos around them. What was stalking them in the storm? Would they find safety, or confront yet another terrifying challenge? The rain blurred Charlie's vision, but the figures at the edge of the street grew clearer with each desperate step. They were moving swiftly, gliding through the downpour like shadows cast from nightmares. At that moment, doubt crept into his mind, slipping in like a cold breeze. Was this truly the moment they would break free? His mother's voice cut through the noise. "Don't look back, Charlie. Just run." They fled, hearts pounding in sync with the thunder that cracked open the sky. The world felt impossibly big, but for Charlie, nothing existed except the steady mantra of his family beside him. Lily's hand slipped into his as they sprinted. "Do you see what that is?" she gasped, breathless. "No," Charlie said, a knot of fear tightening in his chest. How could anyone explain the terror of not knowing? A glance back revealed what felt like a strange, hulking creature dancing in the shadows, but it was only for a moment. The storm grew heavier still, muddling shapes and blurring it all into a frantic masterpiece. "Stay close," his mother shouted again, as they swept around the corner of their block. The street was a river, and their feet splashed as they fought against the current. Floodwater swirled around their ankles, but they kept moving. It was like running through a dream, where every step felt both light and impossibly heavy. Charlie gritted his teeth, feeling a surge of strength in his legs. He couldn't let Lily slow down. "Charlie." His mother's urgency tinged the air. We need to find higher ground. He nodded, pushing aside exhaustion, unable to shake the creeping sensation at the back of his mind that something could still snatch them away. They followed their instincts, taking the side street that led towards the park. Bright flashes of lightning illuminated their path, revealing overturned benches and branches sprawled like twisted arms. Charlie felt a wave of sadness over the devastation but quickly swallowed it down. "Over there!" Mr. Thompson exclaimed, pointing to an insane jumble of branches atop a small hill. It looked precarious but stable enough. "We can take shelter. Hurry!" Charlie forged ahead, pulling Lily with him as his chest heaved for air. He could see a strand of hope amidst the chaos. Just as they reached the makeshift haven, a deafening sound crashed near them, the force toppling a nearby tree. They ducked, eyes wide as splinters sprayed like confetti around them. "Inside, now!" Charlie shouted, ushering Lily first. The group hustled in between the limbs that jutted like skeletal hands. They huddled close, heartbeats thumping in a chaotic rhythm while the storm roared on, reminding them that danger still loomed outside. "Is everyone okay?" his mother asked as she clutched Lily tightly. "I think so," Charlie gasped. But deep inside, a flicker of realization gnawed at him. There would have to be a moment soon when they would call on the true test of strength and bravery. He felt the pressure of his broken arm, binding him, but a spark of determination ignited within. They would survive this storm together, as long as they remained united. But just as silence began to settle in, they heard it, a low growling sound reverberated from the depths of the storm. Charlie's heart dropped. "What is that?" Lily asked, her voice trembling as she glanced towards the shadows gathering outside. Charlie held onto her hand tightly, fear coursing through him. He had to find the words to keep everyone calm. "It's just the storm, just the storm." Yet, within him, uncertainty whispered that whatever lurked beyond wasn't merely a product of the tempest. It was something far more sinister. What's really out there? He wondered, catching the nervous glances exchanged amongst them. As the storm continued its wrath, a new urgency crept into Charlie's heart. How would they confront the shadows? What would be their next move in this wild storm? The sound echoed again, deeper this time, like the growl of a beast waking from its slumber. The storm rumbled in response, shaking the air around them. Charlie felt the grip of Lily's hand tighten in fear. He wanted to tell her everything would be all right, but those words felt hollow against the drums of worry beating in his chest. His mother leaned in, her face pale but determined. "We need to stick together. Remember that, no matter what." Charlie nodded but couldn't quite shake the dread settling in his stomach. Outside, the shadows danced with a life of their own, shifting and sliding like dark serpents among the leaves. The wind howled through the branches above them, sending chills that bit at his skin. The tangled roots of the old growth clawed into the mud, making the hill feel like a fortress. But a fortress could only protect them from the storm's wrath, not whatever hunted just outside. "Charlie?" Mr. Thompson's voice broke through the panic. "Can you see anything?" He peered into the darkness. Between the dazzling strikes of lightning, he glimpsed shapes moving just out of reach, low to the ground. Were they animals? Or something else? He swallowed hard against the terror clawing at him, wrestling to keep his voice firm. "No, nothing. Just rain." "Not just rain," his mother replied, clutching Lily. "Keep your eyes peeled. We can't let our guard down." Every flicker of lightning painted haunting images on the canvas of night. The shadows grew longer and more chaotic. Charlie's heart raced, the pain in his arm a distant echo compared to the rising panic. "Charlie," Lily whispered, her voice as fragile as a spider's web. "What do we do if something comes for us?" He looked at her, his heart breaking at the fear etched into her young features. "We stand our ground," he said, more to himself than her. "We stay together." Outside, another roar shattered the air, louder this time. It felt like the storm itself was alive, breathing its fury down upon them. In that moment, Charlie grasped for courage, knowing the shadows were not just figments of an overactive imagination. They were real, and they were coming. "Listen," he whispered urgently to the group, gathering them close, "if it comes, we have to run back the way we came downhill, towards the road. The trees are too dense here. We'll get lost otherwise." His mother nodded, though worry flickered across her eyes. "If we see anything unusual," the growling grew louder, echoing in the hollow darkness. They all recoiled, fear gripping them in unison. Charlie's instinct kicked in. "We can't just wait," he urged. "We have to be ready." Just then, the ground shook slightly as something heavy moved just beyond the shelter of the branches. Charlie's heart thundered in his ears. The air felt thick with the electricity of the storm, but even that couldn't mask the sense of something watching them, lurking, anticipating their every move. "Charlie," Lily said, panic edging her voice. "Stay close," he cried, feeling the pounding of his heart resonate against the rain's tempo. The growling slowed, fading momentarily into a low rumble as if whatever was out there was now listening. "Maybe it's just an animal," Mr. Thompson suggested, trying to pierce through the anxiety. But Charlie could see the doubt on his face, the way his hands trembled. "I don't think so," Charlie said quietly, as a wave of shadows slinked closer to their makeshift sanctuary. "Then what are we waiting for?" his mother whispered fiercely. In that heartbeat of uncertainty, Charlie's resolve solidified. This storm had taken so much from them already, it wouldn't change who they were. "We wait for the moment to act. We stand united no matter what comes next." He felt a flicker of strength, a glowing ember in the depths of fear. They would not break. But questions loomed larger than the darkness outside. What were they truly facing? Would they dare to confront the unknown? Charlie's breath came fast, his broken arm a reminder of pain well earned. Just as he steeled himself for the worst, another growl rang out, a sound far too close. The shadows shifted. And they all shared a glance that ignited a sense of urgency. "Get ready," he urged, his voice lower now. "Whatever we do it together." With the storm raging in the world outside and the unknown lurking just beyond their sight, the moment of truth hung precariously in the balance. What would they discover when the darkness closed in? The growl echoed again, deep and resonant, merging with the storm's cacophony. Charlie could feel the vibrations through the ground, a harsh reminder of what lurked beyond the shadowed branches. An icy dread coiled around his heart, tightening with each breath. He glanced at Lily, her eyes wide with fear, reflecting the flickering light from the storm. "Charlie, I'm scared," she whispered, her voice trembling. He kneeled down beside her, forcing a smile, even as worry gnawed at him. "I know, but we have to be brave. Remember what Mom said?" Her small nod was a shred of hope, but the reality was stark. This wasn't a simple storm, it was something darker, something alive. Mr. Thompson was still peering into the gloom. "We need to figure out what that sound is. Maybe we can distract it?" he suggested, though his voice carried uncertainty. Distract it? The thought made Charlie's stomach churn. He wanted to shout for help, but what if that only drew the creature closer? "Lily, listen," he said, lowering his voice to just above a whisper. "If anything happens, you stay right next to me. Promise?" "I promise," she breathed, gripping his hand tighter. The bond between them flooded him with courage. Suddenly, the ground shifted beneath them again, and even the wind seemed to hush, as if the world was holding its breath. Charlie turned to his mother, who was scanning the trees, her brow furrowed. He could see the tension written on her face, but then something shifted in her expression, a flicker of resolve. "Okay," she said, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. "We need to make a plan. We can't just wait for whatever that is to come at us." "Plan?" Charlie's heart hammered in his chest. Planning felt too passive when every nerve was screaming for action. If we make a run for it, we can head down the hill. Stay low, and move quickly. The road is our best chance of safety, she said with conviction. Charlie's throat tightened. Leaving behind the little haven they found felt like abandoning hope. What if it gets us on the way? What if it catches us in the open? We have to trust each other, Mr. Thompson interjected, the storm raging louder around them. If we're all together, we stand a better chance than being picked off one by one. The growl returned, a guttural sound that sent chills crawling across Charlie's skin. Shadows crept around the trees, and his instincts screamed at him to run. Charlie's eyes flicked to the darkness just outside their refuge. What if it's out there waiting for us? I don't care, Lily squeaked, her fear pouring out like rain. I just want to go home. His mother's hand rested on Lily's shoulder, firm and comforting. Home is down that hill, and we will get there together. But we have to be smart. In that moment, Charlie felt a flicker of hope illuminated by his mother's confidence. Okay, when the next loud crack of thunder hits, that's our cue. We move. His heart raced along with the thunder as he thought of the distance to the road. It would be a sprint through uncharted territory, every rustle around them a potential predator. As another flash of lightning illuminated their surroundings, Charlie took a deep breath. We'll scream if we see anything, he instructed, his grip tightening on both Lily's hand and the hope that they could be brave together. Ready? His mother asked, looking at each of them for an answer. Eyes glimmered with resolve, even amidst terror. They all nodded. It was time. With the next crack of thunder, Charlie initiated the count. 1, 2, 3. And they dashed forward, into the leather-thick rain and beckoning shadows. He felt Lily jolt against him as they tore down the slope, heart pounding like war drums. Behind them, the growl followed, a sinister reminder that they weren't alone in the storm. As they raced forward, Charlie couldn't shake the feeling that something was closing in. Would they make it to the road, or was the darkness faster than the fear that propelled them forward? The answer lingered like a whisper in the wind, a ghostly echo of dread and anticipation, urging them to flee from the shadows that pursued. What awaited them at the bottom of the hill? Charlie's feet pounded against the wet earth, each step driven by a primal urge to escape. The cold rain slapped his face, stinging like angry bees, but nothing compared to the otherworldly growl that rolled through the trees behind them. It was a sound that clawed at the back of his mind, echoing his worst fears. Lily was right there with him, her smaller legs pumping hard to keep pace, her grip on his hand unyielding. Don't let go. She shouted over the storm, her voice wavering with every breath. I want tea. Charlie yelled back, glancing over his shoulder as the shadows writhed, thickening around them. He felt a rush of panic when the growl echoed again, this time sharper, closer. It sent ice through his veins. They made it halfway down the hill before Charlie's foot slipped. He stumbled, pulling Lily along, but he caught himself just in time. Keep going. He urged, focusing on the fleeting lights in the distance, the road, their beacon of hope. Thunder crashed above them, louder than before, drowning out everything else for a moment. In that split second of silence, he could almost hear the creature's breath, heavy and labored, as if it were equally determined to claim its prey. Charlie! Lily's cry broke through the noise, a burst of fear that ignited his own high adrenaline. He felt himself falling short, lead weights pulling him back. He shook his head, pushing through the exhaustion that was threatening to overwhelm him. We can't stop. Just keep moving. The road loomed closer, but so did something else, a dark figure, blending into the trees, watching them. So close that Charlie could see the glimmer of its eyes through the rain-soaked branches. His breath caught in his throat. Mom! Mr. Thompson! He shouted. The words tumbled out, desperate for help. They were still behind him, but the path felt unsteady. With every second, the growl seemed to mutter darker promises behind them. Faster! Lily chimed in, her urgency cutting through the panic. And then, they were crossing the threshold onto the road. It felt like stepping into another world, tangible and familiar, as they skidded on the slick pavement. Charlie pushed Lily ahead, forcing her to stay in the center of the gray asphalt, where safety could be found. But relief was short-lived. The growl intensified, bursting from the underbrush as something lunged forward. Charlie spun around just as claws dug into his shoulder. The world spun around him as he tumbled onto the cold road, taking Lily with him. Charlie! Lily shrieked, her grip slipping away as he fell. In that moment, everything froze. The storm howled as a flash of lightning illuminated the creature. It was larger than anything Charlie could have imagined, hungry eyes fixed solely on him. Panic surged through him like a living thing, but deep inside, another part of him stood firm, determined. Lily, run! He shouted, struggling against the weight of the creature as it bore down. Claws scraped against his arm, but he fought back, refusing to yield. He glimpsed Lily, wide-eyed and trembling, rooted to the spot, caught between fear and the instinct to flee. Don't look back! With an instinctual burst of strength, Charlie pushed the creature away, an act of pure adrenaline. It stumbled, just enough for him to twist around, his heart thundering in his chest. Go! He yelled even louder now, desperation rising within him. Lily finally turned, her legs moving, but Charlie felt the creature's attention shift back to her. He couldn't let that happen. His mind raced as he scrambled to his feet. Lily! But it became clear. They had to face it together. Just like they'd always promised. With renewed determination, Charlie sprinted after her. They were a team, not separated by terror, but united by it. In this moment, embrace what they faced or be swallowed whole by it. Charlie felt the storm raging within him as he chased after Lily, the road slipping beneath their feet like time running out. But would that battle be the moment they overcame? As they dashed forward, side by side, what would they discover about their strength and bond? The storm loomed overhead, a dark mass of fury and uncertainty, but as Charlie and Lily raced down the road, the raw adrenaline surged through them. Charlie's heart beat in sync with the pounding rain, drowning out fear with unrelenting courage. They were together, sisters and brothers entwined, bundled in hope. Keep running, Lily! Charlie shouted, glancing back to see the monstrous silhouette fading. The shadows were thick behind them, but Charlie felt the pulse of determination push him forward. They could conquer this storm together. Just ahead, lightning lit up the world, revealing the outlines of their neighbors. Dozens of familiar faces gathered on the road, a line of solidarity against the chaos. Mr. Thompson stood firm, shouting encouragement, while their mom directed everyone to take cover under the makeshift shelter of the community center, just a few blocks away. There! Charlie pointed, his voice breaking but unwavering. We can make it. Holding tightly to Lily's hand, they sprinted towards the light, a beacon in their storm, a canvas on which community could be painted anew. Each step tasted of freedom, of relief, inching closer, cutting through the roar of the wind. But the growl reverberated again, casting shadows of doubt. It lurked close behind, waiting, relentless and hungry. Charlie felt a chill, waves of fear threatening to swallow him whole. No, we're not giving in! He yelled, determination washing over him. He could hear Lily's breath quickening beside him, her small fingers tightening as if squeezing out every ounce of doubt. Charlie! Wait! She cried, pulling him back. What? He asked, turning to find her wide-eyed with urgency. We can't leave them. She pressed, gesturing to the townsfolk who were hesitating, fear spreading like poison through the crowd. They'll come. They have to. Charlie didn't want another second wasted. He could feel the heavy weight of fear thumping at their heels, but here, amidst the uncertainty, he saw something flicker in Lily's gaze, a reflection of strength not just in him, but in all. With a deep breath, they made a choice. Together. He shouted, voice piercing through the storm. We need everyone. Come on. As if ignited by his shout, a wave of determination surged through their neighbors. One by one, they bolstered each other, breaking the spell of fear that had held them captive. With Charlie leading the charge, the townspeople rallied, moving towards the community center's direction as a single force. The creature's growl became a dull echo as Charlie felt the strength of camaraderie fill the air, pushing back against the monstrous gloom. Family, friends, and neighbors together, standing shoulder to shoulder. At last, just steps from the door, the friends surrounding them surged forward, fists clenched and expressions fierce. It was not just about survival anymore, it was about hope, love, and connection. Push! Push! Mr. Thompson yelled, urgency pressing every heart. And they burst through the doors, breaking into the warmth of familiarity and safety. The storm raged outside, but within the walls, laughter mingled with tears, they hugged, they cheered, the room alive with joy and relief. Charlie looked around, breathless yet filled with an indescribable sensation. We did it. We're safe. He caught sight of his mother's embrace, her tired eyes sparkling with pride. And Lily, she was glowing, her innocent spirit encasing the entire room with a radiant light. It was as if the storm outside had transformed into a gentle rain, each drop nourishing the soil of their collective strength. As they settled in, Charlie's heart swelled with every face that surrounded him. Their fears had amalgamated into something far stronger. They were home together, united against the storms ahead. He squeezed Lily's hand and whispered, we showed them. Yes, she replied softly, eyes shining bright. They were a testament to their community's spirit, every embrace, every cheer, healing the wounds of fear. Finally, Charlie stepped forward, taking a place at the center. Thank you. Thank you for not giving up. The room erupted, voices rising in unity. They had faced darkness, had fought fear, and discovered love in its most abundant form. Remember these lessons, he thought. In the heart of the storm, never surrender to the shadows. As they celebrated, Charlie's gaze drifted to the window, where he could see the first glimpse of sun breaking through the clouds, shedding light over their little town. Make no mistake, they had weathered the storm. And with that, an irreplaceable thought struck him this moment: this love must be shared. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories that will captivate your heart. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show how we can rise together, just like Charlie and Lily. Don't wait not even one more second to share.